In this video, I am in my Tesla Model Y using FSD Beta for my commute. The footage you see will be from 2 separate days that I filmed my commute from home to work in the morning. For the majority of my commute, the car is driving itself with the FSD Beta, controlling speed and steering, turning and changing lanes, and stopping at traffic lights and stop signs too. I believe I can use FSD Beta for 70 to 80% or more of my commute, and on long road trips on the highway, I've been able to use it for the majority of those trips. There are situations where I actively decide to take control manually. I'll discuss those later. To use FSD Beta to drive me to work, I need to program my work address as a destination. I can then press the right stalk down once to engage Autopilot, or press the stalk down twice to start FSD Beta. There is also an FSD Beta button that I can press next to the end trip button on the navigation map. So I generally press the right stalk button, the right stalk down twice, and then press the button to turn on full self-driving for my commute. This means that both Autopilot and Autosteer are on. Autopilot is indicated by the blue speed target number, which is next to the speed limit on the touchscreen, and then Autosteer is indicated by that small blue icon in the upper right corner of the screen. FSD Beta is a semi-autonomous driving feature on my Tesla that uses 8 cameras and the computer to drive the car, centering it in the lane, adjusting speed to the speed limit, or targeting a slight offset that you can program, or following other vehicles, passing other cars in the highway, braking, turning, stopping at street lights and stop signs too. It's awesome. With the feature on, the driver needs to have his hands on the steering wheel and needs to stay attentive and be prepared to take over in case the car gets into trouble or in tricky situations, such as construction zones, busy intersections, and when other drivers are driving erratically. So the computer sometimes warns me to put my hands on the steering wheel. It also uses the camera to make sure you're paying attention to the road. For the majority of my commute, FSD Beta works well in most situations. The system drives well when I'm driving in smooth traffic along well-marked streets, single-lane streets, and highways where the lane lines are clearly marked. Also, it's very helpful for bumper-to-bumper traffic, where the car simply needs to follow a car as the traffic inches along. The majority of my commute is either in bumper-to-bumper traffic or in a long, well-marked highway, so for me, FSD Beta really works well. In this manner, FSD takes over a lot of the driving task for me, and I can just relax in the driver's seat, keep one hand on the steering wheel, and pay attention to the road. I can also enjoy the scenery more and listen to music or an audiobook or a podcast. It becomes a very relaxing drive, and I arrive at my destination more relaxed. I have to keep my hand on the steering wheel in case I need to take over suddenly, and the Tesla will warn me periodically if it doesn't feel me holding the steering wheel. There are several ways to disengage FSD Beta. For instance, pressing on the brake will disengage it, or lifting the right stalk upwards once will disengage it as well. Both those actions will disengage both Autopilot and disengage Autosteer as well. In contrast, another way to disengage it is when the computer is trying to steer and you steer against the computer in a different direction, Autosteer becomes disabled, but Autopilot, which controls the speed of the car, still remains on. This may be a little confusing, but it's important to know what driving mode your car is in. When Autosteer is on, the car is driving itself and in control of both the steering and the speed. When Autopilot's on and Autosteer is off, the computer is only controlling speed. Like I said, I'd estimate that I can use FSD Beta for 70 to 80% of my commute, and I've been increasing that percentage as I get more comfortable with it. There are several situations, though, where I will disengage from FSD Beta and take manual control of the car. For example, there may be complicated situations like merging in busy traffic, or complicated intersections, or driving in the lanes that are not marked well, or driving in situations where the computer seems to be driving too slow or too fast for the traffic. For example, when you're exiting a highway it can sometimes enter that exit with speed that's too high. There are a lot of reports for phantom braking too, and that may cause the car behind me to rear end me. I've not run into phantom braking where the car tries to brake to a full stop for no reason at all, but I have seen it slow down by 5 miles an hour in certain situations. For example, when there's slower moving traffic in the lane next to me, or when a nearby car looks like it may be cutting me off from an intersection, for example, or when a car in front of me is taking a turn off the highway. You know, most people here in Boston would drive around the car and maintain that speed, but sometimes the Tesla just wants to slow down to almost a halt. So I always watch out for tailgaters because I don't want to get rear-ended. Also, I pay extra caution when I see emergency vehicles, construction zones, or cars or pedestrians on the road. Sometimes the computer may not register these cars or people properly, or it may mistakenly choose to ignore them, and I'd rather not take the risk. If you notice on the screen, the computer is very active in trying to identify and show you an illustration of what it's seeing. It shows all the cars that it sees, the lines and the traffic lights and the stop signs. However, the computer is also trying to pick which objects it wants to ignore. So for example, the trees, the homes, the buildings, the light poles, which are all shown in a gray area in the digital display. One time I was driving behind an SUV pulled by a tow truck with lights on. The computer visualized the SUV, but it did not visualize the tow truck. Perhaps it did not know with all the lights on what it was seeing. So the computer, because it seemed to see the SUV but not the tow truck, that gets me a little worried. So I try to be cautious and be ready to take over when needed. And in those situations, I'll drive manually for a short time and then re-engage FSD again when the traffic's back smooth. I've enjoyed using FSD Beta. It takes a lot of the work out of driving for me, and it allows me to relax and focus, like I said, you know, listening to music or an audiobook or a podcast. On its website, the Tesla actually shares data showing that Tesla vehicles with Autopilot technology can drive 3 to 6 million miles before an accident occurs, which is safer when compared to Teslas without Autopilot, 1 to 2 million miles, or compared with other non-Tesla vehicles, 0.5 to 1 million miles. That data is obviously biased from Tesla, but I'll leave that link in the description. Will FSD Beta show the same safety data as this? Time will tell. You know, the company's probably tracking all the data, and hopefully we'll see a similar chart soon. When you purchase a new Tesla today, you have the option for adding 2 driving features. The first is Enhanced Autopilot. You know, this allows the driver to set a target speed limit on the highway, and once you engage Autopilot, the Tesla will center itself in the lane and adjust its speed to either meet your target speed, or if there's a slower car in front of you, it'll either overtake that car or slow down so that you have some cushion which you preset. For example, 2 to 7 cars from the car in front of you. You can also navigate by Autopilot on the highway. The cost for the Enhanced Autopilot as an upgrade to a standard Tesla is $6,000. There are a few other features which I won't go into when you subscribe to that. FSD Beta includes Enhanced Autopilot, so it'll do the lane centering, enhance cruise control, and navigate for you on the highway. However, it also includes the ability for city driving, so it'll respond to traffic lights, to stop signs, as well, and it'll give you the ability to auto-steer the car on city streets. The cost of FSD Beta is $15,000 upfront, or a $200 monthly subscription fee. It does include the Enhanced Autopilot, so really the incremental cost for the upfront payment is $9,000. The cost of both Autopilot and FSD Beta have been increasing over time, so by the time you watch this video, I'm not quite sure what the price will be. Anyways, I hope you liked this video. It's one of my Tesla videos on my channel. I hope you, if you did like it, please click like, comment, or subscribe. If you have any comments from your experience with FSD Beta, please leave any friendly comments in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. This is one of my Tesla videos. Like I said, I've got a Tesla playlist, and I'm just generally trying to highlight my impressions from my new Tesla Model Y. Also, I've got other videos on my channel that you might like from other hobbies like kayak fishing, surfing, snowboarding, how-to videos. Check them out.